Alright, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Just in case anybody's confused, this is Ward 7, and I'm the other Pat Long, not the Ward 3 Alderman. So for those who don't know my background, I'm an Iraq War vet, an immigration lawyer. I've actually been interested in public service from a very young age. My grandma actually kind of tricked me into it. My grandfather...
They always do.
My grandfather was a Marine who had fought in 3 wars, and so she would tell me stories about his military service. And originally, as just like a little kid, I just liked them because it was entertaining to hear about the war and adventure, and didn't really pay attention to the deeper lessons that she was trying to teach me. But over time, she did teach me more about the importance of service and of sacrifice for the greater good, and talked about the sacrifices that my grandfather and really the whole family had made with him being away for 3 wars. And ultimately, he gave his life in the service of our country, not in combat, but because he was involved in the testing of the hydrogen bombs at Bikini Atoll, and he eventually got cancer resulting from the radiation exposure from that. So my grandfather's story inspired an interest in public service that led to me joining the military, and my only regret about that is I did it a little too late for my grandma to have seen it. I joined when I was right before my 19th birthday, and she died when I was 16. It also led me to go to law school, become an immigration lawyer. So I was in the National Guard for 10 years, 10 and a half actually. 6 of those were in units out of the armory down here in Manchester, ultimately deployed to Iraq. I had the option to stay with my unit and be in a unit that was only going to be safe in the rear in Kuwait, but I volunteered to transfer to a different unit and serve on gun truck there. And then went back to school, finished law school, became an attorney, and yeah. So continuing on with that, yeah, I think there's Manchester has some serious issues facing the city right now. We have a homelessness and housing affordability crisis, and that's, I don't know all the answers to that. This is a multifaceted crisis. Part of it's housing affordability, things that just got too expensive, and that's actually, so what pushed me to move up here from Boston is things were too expensive down there. So I saw it there, and it's the same thing happening here. So I want to work on that, make sure that we can get enough housing built for the city's needs. And then the other component of that is that a lot of people have their mental health or substance abuse issues. We need to make sure that we're getting them the services that they need. And as an attorney, I've worked with a lot of clients who either are in poverty or have a mental health or substance abuse issue, the same kinds of issues that cause people to wind up homeless. So it is something I have some experience with, although by no means am I an expert on it. But I do want to make sure that we're listening to the experts, listening to good ideas, wherever they come from, whether those are Republicans, Democrats, undeclareds, whoever. And in fact, although I'm a Democrat, being originally from Tennessee and an Iraq War veteran and a small-time landlord, I do understand the values of the other side, and I do want to work with them to do anything we can do to solve the challenges facing the city. And the other big challenge I see right now is we have to make sure that our schools are properly funded. That's primarily a state issue, but definitely want to make sure that we prosecute the lawsuits against the state as vigorously as possible, because they are underfunding us, and then if we're not successful in that, do what we have to do to make up the gap, and make sure that we can provide the education that our students deserve. And so I'm hoping to get elected on November 7th and get the chance to do that. And as one last thing, I want to remind you guys that tomorrow is my birthday. So if you didn't buy me a present, make sure you donating generously tonight.